TFT set 13 is here. We're ready and we're rowdy. This is one of the first games I played that was actually kind of worth sharing. Didn't really go into this game with any specific build in mind. I played a couple games of Enforcer, tried out some experiments, all seemed good. Vertical Enforcer did not seem great, but I do really like this one-cost sniper unit. I believe it's Cassie. I'm blanking off the top of my head right now. Let's see here when it pops up. Where is she? I can't even find it on the rerun. It's Maddie, not Cassie. Staying corrected there. Either way, Maddie seems like a pretty solid early unit. Her ability, pretty straightforward, but it has great utility. So I figured instead of running kind of enforcers with her like I had in some other PBE games, I'm going to try going just snipers, see how that goes. Because I do think Zeri's pretty cool. She's one of my more favorite units in TFT. The Kog'Maw is actually really interesting because he's an attack speed sniper, but you build him off of casting. Pretty weird, interesting, but very cool. Twitch I haven't played too much with. I put him in here just because on the off chance that we hit like a sniper crest or whatever, I will throw him in, but more likely than not, Twitch doesn't really make the final build. I'm just putting him in here in case, you know, I hit him early, I don't forget him or walk past him. A Mumu that I buy here honestly feels like another solid one-cost tank. I really do like the one-costs feel like better than last set to me. I feel like at no point in the last set, which I may have skipped out for a little bit, but at no point were the one-costs for me having like a significant impact. I don't know. These feel like kind of juicier one cost. I do think very early it's going to be a reroll set, especially because it is harder to get to 10. They upped it slightly. Took risky moves here simply because, you know, I can't pass up on the like econ for it. I think it's just a very great silver augment. 2 Camille's here kind of enforces the fact that I'm going to go Enforcer. Threw in these Fireflies in there, Firelights, because they're honestly just pretty good units, and I figured I could find a way to kind of work in their overlap. That's why Amumu's kind of making the final one to get Watcher there with Scar. I also just kind of like the Firelight ability. They kind of just skirt around the board for a little bit and re-heal for some of the damage that they've taken, which also is pretty solid when you're trying to run like a sniper build that usually can take a little bit of time to tick online in each fight. So getting that regen back is good. So as I said earlier, 10 units in here, most of the time you're not gonna want to get to 10. I think the way you would play this when the set drops is kind of get to 7, roll a little bit to stabilize, and then you're trying to get to 9, and then that's where your board caps out, trying to hit, you know, your 2-star 4 costs, hitting the taking on her name. That's the problem with recording this off rip. Caitlin, there you go. Bailed myself out here by checking the team planner. The Automata isn't too important, but since I'm getting Sniper and Watcher off the 2 of them, it's a fine add. It'll add a little bit of supplemental value. Yeah. But for the most part, if you get the incentive to really roll heavy at 6 or 7, you can certainly do it and then use the win streak to push yourself to 8 and then 9. I think more likely, though, it's going to be difficult. I don't know. Haven't played the build enough to really get a strong sense of that. This Singed kind of hero silver augment, a lot of people have been taking it. It's pretty cool. It completely changes the way he operates. He just runs around the board, leaves a chemtrail, and his ability just gives him more move speed and omnivamp. I really, you can't tell, I like this set a lot. I really think there's going to be a lot of flex play available. To me, in the last set, the set always gets solved at some point, but I feel like you can kind of just play some wonky, weird builds in this set and kind of just figure it out along the way. I don't think it's going to be as hard set in stone what you should or shouldn't do, but that also could just be the early unsolved set mind talking right there. Running 4 Enforcer for now just because I think it's, it's the best that this build's going to get. It's not super strong without itemizing anyone, especially because my backline is really not going to do too much damage. Maddie is good. She has that kind of utilitarian ability that I said, where she might like kill some of the backline, hit past them, separate shots instead of one big shot, which is nice. But I do think the items are kind of what push her more into that kind of area of relevancy. She kind of dodged that shot there at the end, but great loss for my purposes, since it looks like Enforcer isn't going to be too strong in the early game. Not great though that I'm bleeding a little bit, but it is what it is. None of these items are really what I want. None of these champions are really what I want. Take the bow, because guess what? Most of the time, snipers are going to want a little bit of attack speed, especially with the rod. I already knew that Zeri, I mean, she always is. She's an attack speed champion, so when I get the Zeri, I now have, the Gwinsu's to put on her. Her ability, if I'm remembering it right, it's every 3 attacks she sends out a spark that also hits 2 units next to her target. So you just kind of want to hit that 3 a lot. So you get there with the Rage Blade. Nothing in this shot that's kind of pushing me in any direction. For the most part here, we really are just kind of waiting, At no point am I going to roll here, even with the delayed economy that's coming. I really don't like... 2-star Camille would be nice, but I don't think you do that. Camille's not the focus of this. You kind of just wait on Camille 2 to show up, especially with a 3-loss streak. These Conquerors are pretty interesting. Basically this set's version of Sugarcraft, but instead of ticking up with items, you're ticking up with killing enemy champions. So it's kind of an interesting, like, building win streak thing, but as you can see, you do need to build it up first, because I just lost my Enforcer crew that had been on a 3-loss streak. Amumu, great. I'm really kind of considering what I want to do here. Since I now just won and have kind of lost the streak, with that delayed economy that's coming, I'm considering adding Amumu back in and trying to just sneak in another win before the PBE round, especially because I wanted to get that pair as well, so I figured I was not going to make 30. Twisted Fate, you'll see him in the shop right now. He seems like kind of the outcast in the Enforcers right now. When I did run those Enforcer games that you guys aren't going to see because it didn't get too high in the rankings on them while I was learning the set, TF just doesn't overlap as well as the rest of the units in terms of going vertical on Enforcer. The unit itself is great, but he seems initially like more of a quick striker unit than an Enforcer unit. Because most of the time with Enforcers, I mean, your carry is going to be the Caitlyn, and then because your carry is the Caitlyn, you then want Maddie to both hit Enforcer and Sniper, and then you're kind of left with the rest of that. If you're running snipers, most of the time, at least my dumb monkey brain thinks, hey, Caitlyn's the carry, let's just give Caitlyn enough time to hit her ult, which is an airship drop that kind of hits random parts of the map, and then during the 5 seconds that it's dropping, she just goes insane and hits for like a lot of damage on each shot she takes. Which is something we'll talk more about later. When I did run Caitlyn in an Enforcer build, she kind of felt weak, and then with this, more emphasis on snipers, she felt a lot better, which may be due to the item breakdown, which was not ideal, but there's one item specifically that I think made Caitlyn operate a lot better. We hit this Zeri, and so we have a lot of options here with 2 bows, a rod, a glove, a whole lot of. The main question here is, the Rage Blade is obviously getting made. The question, though, is do I save the bow and try and get a red buff? Because more likely than not, when she's spraying to multiple people, that red buff's going to be really good, hitting multiple units and burning them a little bit. Also have Guard Breaker, which again is going to be great when she's hitting multiple units pretty often. Getting that shield, which then buffs her damage as well. Or Last Whisper, because this is most likely going to be an AD team with Caitlyn and multiple other snipers. Kog'Maw's the only sniper in this. The only sniper, period, that is AP instead of AD. So Last Whisper, also a great thing because she's going to be sundering multiple units. So a lot of ways you can go here. I think you can't, like, it's another one where you can't really go wrong. I think Last Whisper is better because your team's going to be a lot more AD focused, but if you're going to 3-star Zeri, definitely go with Guard Breaker, you know? Like, give her the damage amplification. Looking at these, Fire Sale is just not going to happen. Placebo is interesting, but is more of a economy focused to me than health as well. Like, I really don't need the gold. It helps me get to the level faster, but I'm really not going to need it. So I'll take the 10% Omnivamp. It'll both keep my team alive a little bit longer and eventually give me some money. There is an interesting thing. I don't know exactly where the money later is coming from. I think there might be a bug with health as well, because I kept getting a little bit of extra gold later in the fight, and I'm not entirely sure if I'm just a bozo and I'm misreading where that's coming from, or if health as wealth was triggering multiple times, which I'm not sure is supposed to happen or not supposed to happen. I believe the text says the first time you get to 10,000 or 1,000 healing, you get it, but I think I was getting it every time I got an additional 1,000 or 10,000 or whatever it was. Here we can see one major problem that this build will run into when you have a big juicy unit. Red buff would have helped there. Probably get through that single unit a lot faster. Giant Slayer is not really something I'm going to put on Zeri often unless I have to. Finally hit that risky moves. Now we're looking good. Kind of chilling. We can just find stuff as we go. Health total is not looking great, but we will find a way. Don't you worry. Throw in Willem and Nunu, just to get Bruiser in here instead of having an extra Zeri. Team is not looking hot, but I trust in my ability to figure it out at this point. And if it doesn't work out, then I just, you know, chalk it up to the build not being good. That's the great thing about PBE, you know? Just mess around, figure it out. Here we can see that singed again, gotten a lot faster. Just leaves a trail of poison. Zeri barely hung on there, eventually died. You really don't want to be lost streaking with the amount of health I have right now, but my main thought is, hey, we're going to get a boost at some point. We get it massively here, which is one of the great things about risky moves, that you get that, you know, earlier pick than you might have, even if you did start win streaking. Echo's just going to be great, and the glove will give me Last Whisper for the Zeri, which is going to be super helpful. None of these other units were particularly interesting. Like, I can't make a sniper, an additional sniper thing with Spat or Pan. So it seems like it's going to be fully a, you know, augment thing. That's how you get to 6. I still leave Twitch in the team planner because he can be used as a, get him right there, he can be used as a unit to kind of bridge the gap a little bit. I play around a little bit here with throwing in Garen to get an improved Watcher and his Emissary bonus, but then I realize I could just play Scar, who I guess I didn't see at the time, and then you get the 3 Firelight, still get Watcher. And then because he's the Watcher, you drop out Steb. You're not hanging on 3 Enforcer. So I think this is kind of the perfect jump in, you know, combat power for this build, is if you can kind of finally get to that 3 Firelight and throw in the Steb a little bit, drop from 4 Enforcer to 2, and then eventually come back up to 4 later in the build. Steb is not necessarily needed anymore, but I'm keeping him around, 1, because I don't need to sell him for econ, and 2, because similar like Twitch, if I kind of leverage up and go find like the Kog'Maw or something, I can move around to get to 4 Enforcer if I feel like that is really what's gonna, push the build up a little bit more combat power wise. But yeah, that's what we're looking at. Scar is certainly powerful. Just can get a lot of healing both with the Firelight and his own ability that heals. So he's kind of a great... The one weird thing about this Firelight Enforcer build is that, like, because they're Firelights, they're going to move away from the benefit of, I believe his name's Luris, that frontline Enforcer unit. His ability basically redirects damage that the people next to him are taking, which doesn't work as well when the Firelight moves away from that, but I don't think it's something that super matters. Like, he only moved away kind of after that ability for Luris proc, and I think for the most part, like, you're just kind of splitting hairs if that is what's going to lose you the game, which at super high elo, which I am not, a member of, that may be something that determines the game. In PBE, I'm not going to stress too much about it. So, rethinking this, leaving, again, Twitch in there, just praying for maybe another augment. Again, kind of a bridge unit. But for the most part, you're not going to make it to 10, you're only going to make it to 9. Sell off Stead because I realize there's really no world where this 4 Enforcer is going to come back into it, I think. Like, maybe I'm wrong and it is the better option to jump up to 4 Enforcer at a certain time, but, like, the Firelights just felt like more powerful units to me. If you're not re-rolling Enforcer, which I am doing a little bit just to hit on these 3 costs, see if I should, kind of run down mid and 3-star like Scar and Zeri. Sit here, I think about it, I'm really trying to figure it out. End up using the Lesser Duke on Zeri just to kind of keep this streak going. Looking through the rest of these items, the sword and the bow, for the most part, are probably just going to end up on Camille. I don't immediately remember what I used them for. I definitely think making the tank unit up front on Scar was the right move, especially with 2 more of them hanging out in the shop. The idea of potentially rolling down more on 7 being within the realm of possibility. Consulting my planner again, thinking, hey, Twitch, you're probably not making it back, but we'll see. I am pre-leveling here just because, like, rolling here is so tough when you have to get to 9. I feel comfortable with the current combat power to kind of push me through this round and get me to 9. And I really need, like, I need another Scar, I need another Luris, like, I hope his name is Luris and I'm not botching that, but, if I did in the comments, just let me know. Rolling just really hurts your chances of getting to 9, which is where kind of the ultimate power is going to come from. With a 3 streak, I figure, hey, let's push it. Throwing the Twitch for now just because I'm not getting to Enforcer. Sell off the Scars to push back up to 40 because I'm like, I really just don't think rolling here is the answer, even though this feels like more of a reroll set by my initial eye. With Twitch, I can use him again as that bridge unit for Caitlyn. So if it does look like we're lacking a little bit power-wise, just throw some items on Twitch. When I sell him, move him to Caitlyn. Part of the reason though that I'm hesitant to is because I don't remember Caitlyn's ability. And there's no way for me to look it up quickly unless I pulled up my phone, but I was trying to figure out what to do, reading all the new units and stuff like that, to be doing that. So after kind of a very close win like that, I'm thinking, all right, we should probably itemize this guy. Twitch is another one that would and could use the Rage Blade. He's another attack speed sniper. Caitlyn is not. Maddie could be, I guess. But I don't see her really as that. I've yet to see if... An interesting kind of side note. Here we get back up to 4 Enforcer with the Vi, who's only a temp unit. I do think this is better just because it gives the Zeri more time to keep ticking up, rather than getting, 3 sniper on that board. Just itemize Maddie to kind of keep pushing this win streak. But as I was saying before, Caitlyn's ability was kind of, eluding me. So I was concerned about itemizing and then just having the wrong items for her. But to be honest, again, I said we'll get to it later. To me, seems like there's only really one item that is super important for Caitlyn. I think she can kind of take a bunch of different items and provide value. She doesn't feel like a true blue carry to me at this point. She feels more like a support in terms of damage. Like, she does a lot of good damage. She will lead my team in damage at times, but she feels like part of a bigger team-wide effect of damage than just, hey, she is going to do all the damage for this team, if that makes sense. Looking through the units here, again, nothing super important for our build. So I just take the Savika just to get the gold, and because it gives me a frontline item. Which Savika could maybe be a hold here. If you level up and are not hitting the Caitlyn, you can throw in Savika to get Pit Fighter with the Vi if you hold on to the Vi. Again, this feels like a decent set for some weird flex play. That being said, though, I hit the Caitlyn, so immediately I'm like, well, Savika, I don't need you anymore, but thank you for showing up. Now have 4 snipers, so there's a question of how do I rearrange this board. Vi is now out, and then kind of, do I just immediately level? Yeah, man, let's do it. Get to level 9. This is, so here, you could pause the video right here. This is the board that you ultimately want to get to if you want to play this Sniper, Firelight, Enforcer kind of build. Looking at Caitlyn's ability, here you see it. So she calls in an airship, deals bomb damage and a 1-circle hex. But the more important part of about that, which isn't, super expressed, it's kind of worded differently than you would think. During that, 5-second airstrike, she just deals like very good damage. So we're going to keep waiting here to see what the most important item for that is, which I really don't think you're going to expect, but to me it felt like she really jumped up as that kind of second carry when she got that later item, which I wouldn't have expected, and maybe I'll be wrong. We'll see as this set continues to develop. Here we finally see the anomaly. So they kind of give me a decent one. So Zeri being a 2-star 2 cost, you wouldn't think would be the one to evolve, but considering she's going to stay alive with Firelight, she's going to attack very often, then giving our team more AD, of which we are AD focused. It felt like a very easy thing, and I don't have to roll past anymore. I'm low on econ right now, having pushed up to 9 very early to preserve this streak and get Caitlyn in with 4 sniper. It just felt pretty good. Like, it's not a, world-changing effect like some of the other anomalies that I've done, but it feels pretty good. Just a little bit more AD for the entire team feels nice and gives Caitlyn just a little bit more support. So I'm fine with it because she is going to attack a lot through the course of a fight, hopefully. So, kind of, to be honest, it feels like one of the lesser ones. It definitely would be better on Twitch most times, but it felt good. It felt good, felt decent, and didn't ruin my econ. It didn't feel like one that I could move past. It felt pretty easy and straightforward. So you'll see there Caitlyn's kind of line of sight sniper attacks. That is kind of the more intriguing effect to me of her ability. I feel like the airstrike itself is useful, especially in wider boards as you get later in the game. But it really, like, her just kind of doing that massive damage to one target feels more powerful initially because those airstrike bombs can miss. For the most part, though, we're in just another waiting game. Like, I could roll for Caitlyn here on 9 to then stabilize with Echo, Caitlyn, you know, and just end there, but it didn't feel like the right time, considering I could, because of the econ that I got in this game, maybe make 10, but that's not really my thought process at this point. See, so there's some of the gold. I believe that's the first instance of that Omnivamp trait that I'm blanking on. So here, they label her an attack caster. I'm like, all right, well, sure, I guess, yeah, I'll give her a Shojin, and we'll see what happens. I'm gonna be real, the Shojin really kind of bumps her up, because it gets her into that, like, that sniper thing. You can, if an enemy is caught in the blast, but like it's every shot that she takes that's doing significantly more damage. Like 300, 400, like ticking up because of Zeri's attacks. Like her getting off those improved shots, you can see it from the damage chart. It like drastically improved her output. Like the Shojin is weirdly feels like a great item for her just because it gets her to that headshot, reducing armor and magic resist stuff a lot quicker. Like, I feel like if she isn't getting to that earlier, this build kind of really reins in its power level. Like, it's kind of weird because you would think you wouldn't want it to end so fast because Zeri's gonna keep ticking up. But to me, Shojin feels like a pretty important item for Caitlyn, even though her mana cost isn't even that high. But the damage that she jumps to from getting that cast off early is, very, apparent to me. Dr. Mundo in this shot played another game where Dr. Mundo was kind of the carry for me. He's going to be a very potentially annoying if you can't deal with him. He's going to be tough to kill if you play it right. He's a tank, to say the least. But yeah, we're clearing right now on a great win streak. Damage is flowing. So now I'm like, well, shit. Let's take it up to 10, brother. Especially with an Alawi in the shop, I have the perfect amount of money to then drop in this Sentinel, which felt like easy money to me, especially because she's gonna, stay still, not Firelight away. But yeah, for the most part, I think you usually are gonna top out at 9 with the board we saw before. You're not gonna throw in the Sentinel. Sentinel felt like the right trait to kind of pursue, just to give these snipers a little bit of that, protection on our front line, a little bit more MR and armor. But yeah, like, Caitlyn just starts deleting units as soon as she gets her cast off. And this is only a 1-star Caitlyn. Like, I really think Shojin is an odd bis for Caitlyn. We shall see, though. We shall see. And I believe pretty soon, I think that actually was the opening video that you guys saw, where she just deleted the other team. Nothing particularly amazing. Like, the extra Firelight is great if I can get it, but then the question arises, like, who do I put it on? Ultimately what I take, because I have a lot of items already, so I'm going to take the emblem. Just give the front line more life, But I think I'd throw it on the Alawi, if I'm not mistaken, but I hit the Rumble here. As you can tell, the luck was flowing this game, because I keep getting upgrades pretty safe and easy. I think the Alawi would have been fine. Rumble may not be the best champ because he's AP, but it felt good to get some burn, some wound on the board. So yeah, I was fine with it. His unique trait, Junker King, is definitely fun. It's like Heimerdinger from the last Arcane set, except it's not in the unit shop. He opens up a separate shop that you can buy upgrades to, and then they also don't count as items for him. They're just modifiers to his ability, which also feels better. They're also cheaper, not as expensive as Heimerdingers were. Yeah, like, this is what feels great. Like, if the team can survive, the duo carry of Zeri and Caitlyn can usually wipe out the rest of it. So I'm feeling pretty confident. I'm high rolling into first place. This was, or would have been, my first in PBE. I was feeling good, man. And I still have a little bit more rolling I can do, obviously, for Caitlyn. 2-star the Echo, 2-star the Rumble. There are, like, some slight improvements here now that we've gotten to 10 and spent that gold not rolling earlier. But I'm out of gold because I got to 10. So I kind of just have to sit and wait for them to come to me. But for the most part, I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling confident. I don't think anybody can F with me, you know? Even this Singe coming up close, poisoning my backline. We have a little bit of Omnivamp to try and help that out a little bit, and then Zeri also has the Firelight. And I'm thinking, damn, what did I do wrong? No. Ultimately, I think I gotta get some units started up. I move Rumble back just because I think his ability getting the burn and wound on some of the board feels more important than his tankiness. Could also just be the way I itemized him, but I also think Rumble's an interesting one to Firelight for some other builds because of some of his potential ability modifications that you'll see later. Again, this set feels fun to me. Most of the units are fairly straightforward. It's nothing super crazy, and they feel like they overlap fairly well. There's not one main answer. You can do some weird things, do some wonky things. The anomaly is always going to make, you know, weird stuff that much better. Take a protector just because, like, we need some frontline support. I don't think the problem is the backline damage at this point. It's just the frontline surviving long enough to get us there. In terms of who I put the protector on, I put it on Rumble mainly. I mean, maybe I should have put it on Echo, but since I hit these upgrades, I just throw it on the Rumble. Also lets him get his ability off a little bit earlier. Get that wound out. So I do believe it's not this one, it's the next combat that you'll see this Rumble special shot. But like, see what, like, this backline's doing damage. It's mainly just getting that front line to stay up. Knock somebody out. Checking what, you know, Caitlyn's ability got up to from the AD stack from Zeri. So here's the interesting one. Him dying and then doing magic damage to enemies within 2 hexes. If he firelights into the backline and then dies, I mean, that feels pretty good, you know? That feels pretty good that he might just, like, end up in the backline, explode, and then just do some wombo damage there. So that was what I was speaking about earlier with him being a weirdly good Firelight unit, just because if you get that self-destruct upgrade, you might be able to do some wonky stuff. I also do the animation of them moving around on, like, the hoverboards. I like it. It looks clean, looks cool. It's good, man. And now I'm back to thinking, hey, I've gotten my upgrades, I'm capped out. Let's take this thing to Party Town. Let's get that first. Little did I know. Little did I know what was lurking in the darkness. What's crazy is I think I looked at his team, or her team, and I didn't even see it there. I don't think I even saw it. Oh no, I did, because I'm adjusting to try and get it. I figured he might he might move, but I don't think I realized that it was 3-star until now. I just saw that Silco was there. I was like, all right, maybe I'll get this Firelight into his location. It's supposed to be a safe location, so maybe honestly the self-destruct ain't that good, but who knows. But yeah, not much this build can do against a 3-star 4-cost. Hey, props to him. Pandora's Bench, another great silver augment. And I chalk it up. Congrats, GG's. I kind of just panic take a a spat here, just because I'm like, it's over anyway. But you know, yeah, it does make an okay enough emblem. You know, just a little bit of supplemental value. We do have Automata in the build, but none of this is enough. So now, considering like, hey, the Firelight might not put him in the back. Let's just set him up in the middle. Hopefully he takes the most damage, dies early, kills their front line, and then somehow we can kind of get some damage into that back line early enough before Silco kills us. Stranger things have happened. And then I'm given a gift. He frontlines Silco out of cockiness, confidence, respect, since he has more than one life. But yeah, this just shows you how important positioning is. Even a 3-star Silco will die if you position him poorly. Barely get a win in there, and then that's pretty much the end of this. He unfortunately does not do that again. I don't want to take the repairing microbots because I kind of want the Rumble to die. So I take that furthest in 4 hexes to maybe get some damage on Silco. But this one's pretty much over. Silco wins this time, even against the combined forces of the Enforcers and the Firelights, trying to take that Kingpin down. But yeah, we can watch this final fight. Just see how powerful this 3-star Silco is. To be honest, Silco has not been a unit that I've played with yet. I really, I like the Chem Baron trait, the kind of illegal items thing. It's a lost streak mechanic that you don't want to pivot out of, like you have in previous sets. So I really like that a lot. Hopefully I'll get to play one later. I get mogged here, the victory celebration, and that's the game. So thank you for watching.